Alright, NXT, setting up for Deadline in December. We get this episode. Now, I'm not going to tell you it was boring because it wasn't. I'm not going to tell you it was great, but I won't tell you it was trash. I'll give it like this again, as I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is not a HBK Productions. It is HBK under the direction of Triple H. And that's been a problem for me. Because I'd rather seen something different from somebody who took a little bit of somebody, smushed them together and added his own little flavoring. And we get NXT 2.5. Which I felt was not a bad product. It wasn't perfect. It was basic wrestling 101. Based in some of the late 80s, early 90s type of style of wrestling. With a little bit of the old black and gold. And tiny bit of the madness of the one will not be named Vince and Kenny McMahon. That's the way it was. And to be honest, it just doesn't feel the same. You can see the uniformed type of booking. And unfortunately, that type of uniform type of booking can be very predictable and boring. Particularly if it reflects the main roster like it's begun to. Just saying. Metaphor, ladies, went up against Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. I'm going to be honest here. I understand they're trying to set these ladies up for the Iron Survivor Challenge. Because the men and women are setting up for this. And the match was not 100% trash, even though Miss Jackson was a bit sloppy. But it really didn't feel like anything. It felt like we got two women who are historically normally don't work together. That is Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. Now, it doesn't mean on the outside they hadn't teamed together at least maybe once. Here, it doesn't feel right. You know why? Because both of these women were brought in separately with their own strengths that needed to be accentuated and built upon. Remember, booking is important. If they don't book these women correctly with the strength they already have and with bringing from the outside, why do you care? It's kind of like what's going on with the Motor City Machine Guns. 2 matches, they win the tag championships on SmackDown. And to be honest, I'm not into it. I know I didn't make a SmackDown review, but that's the one thing I didn't like. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin should never won the titles so quickly. That was wrong. It's not about the work they do in the ring. It's about how you build these men correctly. And that was a rush job. And I'd rather see them on NXT than jump to the main roster. Or at least if you're going to keep them on the main roster, they needed months of building. So people, not only ones who already know them, but ones who don't know them, can actually see they're going to be booked correctly. Or they're just going to be thrown to the wolves so they would just do matches and not be cared about. That's what I'm getting with Stephanie and Julia here. Yeah, they had their little interview after the match was over, but in the end, I didn't feel anything because there's no booking for them. Next, what we get for match 1 of the Iron Survivor Challenge. Soruka versus Cora Jade. I'm taking a guess that Soruka has earned a little bit of cred due to the fact of working with TNA. This is what happens when you work with an outside promotion and they watch to see how you're doing when they look at the damn product from the other promotion. So they saw she was consistent, so they decided to throw her into the Iron Survivor. And when it comes to Cora Jade, who was a hire during the Vince McMahon NXT, not saying she's being put to the wayside, but due to the fact that she's worked on TNA, they gave her this. Fine, I have no problem with it. The question is, even if she gets this spot, doesn't mean she's going to win Iron Survivor. And even if she did or didn't, what is her booking going to be after that? After December, I believe it's December 7th. Or is it the 2nd? I can't remember which one it is. We'll find out. Next, the men's Iron Survivor qualifying match. Wes Lee versus Cedric Alexander. I'm going to be honest here. 2 things about Cedric. 1, he needs to leave TKO WWE. He has done everything he can. He's been on the main roster. He worked in the Hurt Business, if I remember correctly, or at least he worked with Shelton Benjamin for a while. And then that was the end of that, and along with MVP. And then he's all the way in NXT, and he's doing almost nothing there but trying to get the next generation over. And that is Devon Evans. So honestly, what is he doing? He's collecting a paycheck. Now, mind you, that's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do as a wrestler in your later years, not saying he's not even old. He's maybe in his early 40s by this point, because he's been in WWE for maybe, 7 or 8 years at this point? I don't know how many years. I haven't checked. You guys can tell me below how he is. But the point here is this. He has been there a long time. What is left for you to do? They're not going to push you into the IC title. They're not going to push you. Maybe they're putting you to the tag titles on NXT. I doubt you're going to be put back into the main title picture on the main roster. I don't think he's going to win the US title. I don't think he's going to win the IC title. I don't think he's going to win either the Undisputed or the WWE title. I'll be surprised if they would even throw the NXT title on him. So what is he there? To train the next generation. Now, if he's fine with that, more power to him. But as far as I'm concerned, he needs to leave. The second thing is, if you haven't noticed, he's gotten a lot more bulkier in the last couple of years since he's been working on the main roster. Do I believe that has cut his speed down? Yes. Do I believe he's no longer agile like he used to be? Yes. Now, I know you're going to say, well, he's an older male. He's an older man. Yeah, of course. But also what adds to that is that you had to bulk up because of a certain look people wanted you to have. Whether you did anything genetically, in other words, you worked out, you ate right, and you did that, food nutrition-wise, honestly, or you did an injection. Not saying he did, but you know what I mean. He looks bulky, and he looks slower. He's no longer a high-flying wrestler anymore. He needs to change his style if he's going to stay there. But it's just me. Moving on. Next, my girl Letitia. I'm not going to tell you I don't like Rizzo, because she's not that bad of a character. She needs way more development. She's not a bad person, but they've really not developed her very much. She's always been a background character when it comes to the family. Now, Nikita Lyons. Let's make this clear. That's my girl. Next is Soul Ruka. I really do love Soul. Nikita Lyons is one of the few women there that has not gotten any major storylines, that when you look at her, not just physically, but if you look at how she presents herself, especially now that she's a heel, she has polish. She actually had polish even before she turned heel. She had some level of polish when she spoke, how she presented herself. Look, she's a sexy looking woman, but she also can go in the ring to a certain extent, and those nunchucks, that could pop her in the damn head if she wasn't trained in real life with some level of martial arts. So there you go. I did not expect Rizzo to win here. She didn't win. I'm not surprised. But what was interesting, seeing that after it was over, she grabbed a tire iron and whacked her behind the neck. And that was Nikita Lyons. So the story's not over. But the question is, by deadline, what would this lead us? Will it be a stipulation match to blow them off? I don't know. Moving on. The men's qualifier, number 2. That is Devon Evans versus Lexis King. This is where it gets interesting. Lexis King is in a storyline where he's not trying to be his father, Brian Pillman Jr. He's not trying to be like his son. I think the reason I boxed here with Brian Pillman and then his son, Brian Pillman Jr., they're trying to do the narrative that he's not his father's son in attitude. He's someone different. He was raised by someone else. So when you see this, they're trying to make this story of, will he fall to the dark side like his dad, Brian Pillman, or will he stay straight? And we see that, yes, the person that would like to see him go like his dad would be a William Regal. But the question is going to be how far they're going to go with this, and will he fall or not? Now, of course, Devon Evans is not going to win in a way of Will he have a story to go along with his Iron Survivor qualifying match? No, there is no story for him. As I said before, Devon Evans is a high flyer. But that's it. He's not better than Axiom. He's not better than Frazier. He's not better than Wesley. He just isn't. He isn't better than any one of them. Let's make that very clear. There are better high flyers than him. There have been better high flyers than him, and there's no way around it. He needs character. That's all he's got, just to flips. He needs character. So I don't expect any story for him. Yes, you can say Cedric Alexander's helping him and training him, but that's all he's doing. Cedric has got more character than he does. And even though Cedric is not a major high flyer anymore because, as I said, he has gotten more bulky as not only he's gotten older, but also the climate on the main roster is that if you're too skinny, you don't look good, bulk up a little bit. Either exercise and become heavier and lose some of your speed, or do that. I'm not saying he did it, but you get my point. Moving on. Final match, Kiana Jordan versus a Fallon Henley 40 Women's North American Championship. Now, you knew who was going to win. It was going to be Fallon. I didn't even need to question it. You got Jasmine out there. You had JC James out there. There was no way she was going to win. And I knew she wasn't going to win. And it made no sense for Fallon to drop it anyway before deadline. So she was going to lose. So the question is, what are they going to do with Kiana Jordan now? They pushed her pretty hard for quite a while. Now she's dropped off the planet. What are they going to do with her? Is she going to turn heel? Is she going to have some type of inspiration? Is she going to have someone by her side to help her to go back to the top? I don't know. Now, the only thing that mattered to me on this show was the storylines. Let's make this very clear. The men having a breakout fight after the match was over when it came to Kiani. This is trying to set up the men's tag division to mean something by deadline. Fine. Just like the Iron Survivor Challenge, they're trying to build the tag championship and trying to make it mean something. I'm fine now. The Mud is there, Gallus is there. You see the families started the fight in the first place, even though Out the Mud started it by saying, we're coming for you. Everyone was in the fight, but at least they're doing it. Seeing that Sean Spears approaches the Don and wants a match for Josh Brooks. Not Brooks, yeah. Well, let me give it to you like this. When you see this, not Josh Brooks, I'm just like, you see that he's trying to manipulate the Don to get to that title. Do I believe they're going to give it to him? No. But will he look good trying to get it? Yes. And using Brooks to do it is fine. All right. Next. Here's what I care about the most. All or Nothing for Chase U. Trick comes out. Andre Chase comes out. And let's make it very clear, the newly invigorated Rich Holland. Here's the deal. I've always liked Chase U. It was a nice change of pace. It wasn't one of the best factions, but at least it gave people opportunities to try and show what they could do. Do I believe that Duke Hudson was great? No. Do I believe that it was Osborne that was the best one? No. The only one that had the most development was Thea Hale. She worked hard and it did work. People did believe her. And I liked it. But now there's a possibility they're ending it next week. Because guess what happened? Trick wants to call out a Rich Holland. Chase U. Champs come, well, the principal, the owner of Chase U comes out. He wants his hands on Rich Holland. But Trick says, you know what? You deserve better than this. As he said, he's going to give him a title shot. Rich comes out saying, you're actually going to give this piece of garbage one, give it to me. And he says, I don't care about no match. I just want my hands around your neck. That's basically what he was saying to Rich. So, what do we get? We get a Trick Willie saying simply, how about this? And this is after Chase said, okay, let's have this match. You and me, you want to have a match? I'll put up Chase U if You beat me, you become the runner-up, Chase U. You own it. He said, I don't give a damn about it. But once Trick Williams said, you two have a match. Whoever wins goes at me at Deadline. And he's telling Andre Chase, dude, do this. You can do this. You can do this for Osborne. You can do this for Duke. You can do this for Fallon. And everyone says, okay, I'll do it. And they're saying, what? He says, all right, oh, hit my mic. Hit my tripod. Essentially, he says, I'll do this match with you. But if I win, when I will, you're done. No more Fallon. No, I think the reason I just thought of Fallon Henry because she was part of Chase U. Everything that has happened in the last near 2.5 years has, in some cases, some of the best story, even if it wasn't the greatest, the best story that they could produce at the time when the controversy of Vince being there and the restraint that was put on HBK was mostly surrounding Chase U, guys. Yes, I said to myself, Trick Williams was going to be something almost 3 years ago. I knew it. I knew that. He's proven it. I was right, but also so much had revolved around Chase U. So many people have gone in and out or challenged with Chase U, and look where most of them are now. Either they're on the main roster or they're already getting some level of shine. So now Chase U might have reached his course, or may still be going. I don't know. But I am not surprised that this was eventually going to happen. I'm not going to give my prediction if Andre is going to win or Rich is going to win, but they are going to bring this to a head. People will wonder what's going to happen with Chase U. Is it a good idea to do this? It's time. Sooner or later, this faction was going to either go to the main roster or be disbanded. So it's now all or nothing for Chase U. I'll say the show wasn't too bad, but it's just me. Peace.